You can't do that, it's dangerous. You can't do that, it's racist. You can't do that. Oh, you can't tell jokes that'll upset people. Watch what you say. Be in these little boxes. Only repeat what the television says, and then you'll be safe. They don't want you to mature. They don't want you to develop. They want to just sit there and shovel fraud at us. But the good news is a lot of Republicans in Congress and a lot of people now on talk radio realize that we just can't let Obama legalize tens of millions of illegals with a stroke of a pen, who he's already done without the executive order. But we can't have him even put it on paper and officially do it. We can't have him shut down more power plants when Congress voted it down 4 years ago or 5 years ago. We can't have him put our military under NATO command outside of law. We can't have him set up the carbon taxes, as he announced this week in China, without congressional approval. We can't have him go after the guns next year with the UN treaty that goes into effect December 24th. We cannot have him ignore the courts and ignore the Congress. Not that they're perfect, but this is an open flaunting, as Krauthammer was saying. Obama has changed Obamacare 30-plus times we know of. It's a lie with 21 taxes, 7 of them on people making below the poverty line that should be on welfare. There are a lot of folks just so hardworking but so poor. Black folks, Hispanics, white folks, I know a lot of them, that they're below the poverty line but won't take welfare. And they all just live together, 3 or 4 families in a home. And that's just what they do. And they go out and they work. And see, at an emotional level, I want to make the minimum wage $20. But I realize that that's a scam. That'll just shut down smaller businesses that can't pay it. Because when you pay somebody $20, you got to pay Social Security, FICA, all these matching funds on top. So basically, you're paying somebody $20 an hour, you're paying them about $27 an hour. You're paying somebody $10 an hour, you're paying them about $15 an hour. Do folks know that? Oh, see, most Americans don't run an operation with employees. I do. You pay somebody $25 an hour, you're paying them $35 an hour. $35 an hour. You understand that? So they've devalued the dollar that Ron Paul kept warning of. It's caused inflation. Look at what hamburger costs, 3 times what it was 10 years ago. Cars are twice what they were 10 years ago. Only thing that is what it was a few years ago is oil, because they've been artificially manipulating it down because they have a total global oligopoly to bankrupt Russia. So that's a nice side effect for us to have lower fuel prices, but it's done as a weapon. Just like they're shutting down the coal in this country because we got more than the whole world combined, basically, and it's clean, and it doesn't put anything out but carbon dioxide that we exhale and water vapor, so they're shutting that down. Do you understand the globalists have a rigged global economy to a great extent? They're trying to get a total global rigged economy, crony economy, and if they get that, Katie bar the door, because they've told us what their ideology is. It's codified in a worldwide treaty, 1992, called Agenda 21. Stuff like Cloward and Piven that we talk about is just one of hundreds of their reports and their plans that got popularized, a decade ago, and then by Glenn Beck a few years ago. But it's only one strategy to make you totally poor so they can control you. Well, that's a classic communist strategy. Do you understand that, folks? This is weaponized, premeditated. Does the average cop in on it? No, they're just trying to go out and generate revenue and go to calls. Does the average school teacher know this? No. Does the average military person know? Does the average general even know this? No. They have their areas, their responsibilities, and they want to go play golf, or they want to go see their mistress. They want to go see a movie. They want to go read a book. They want to go to the Caribbean. The average CEO does it, goes to the meetings. I mean, really high level. Fortune 100, they're in board meetings, the master plan. The main shareholders of work. I remember Rex Tillerson, the head of ExxonMobil, wouldn't sign on to carbon taxes about 8 years ago, 7 years ago. And David Rockefeller, it was in the news, in the board meeting, told him, listen, this isn't about keeping the economy going. I don't care if you're saying this will shut down the U.S. economy and is meant to make us energy totally dependent. You're going to do this or I will fire you. Because you know who the majority shareholder of Exxon and Mobil is. Exxon and Mobil are Standard Oil, folks. When they broke those giants up in 1906, All it was 11 different signs on the gas stations. The oil all came out of the same Standard Oil trucks. And the only other oil companies out there, there's some South American companies operating in the U.S., but the big ones are Dutch Royal Shell and BP. And do you know who co-owns Dutch Royal Shell and BP? Little hint, one of them's called Dutch Royal Shell. It's almost completely owned by the royal family, and their wealth is secret. But you know who the other owner of it is? The Queen of England. And do you know who the only other owners in BP are in the preferred central system and stock, privately held system? They have some publicly held subsidiaries. The Queen of the Netherlands, because they're cousins. Those two women, well, one of them stepped down, now they have a king. That king and then his cousin, Queen Elizabeth, the Dutch king and the British queen, own the second and third largest oil companies in the world. See, that's the type of wealth we're talking about. So much wealth, they could lower oil prices after gouging us for all these years to now bankrupt Russia. So Russia can't sell its oil cheap and undercut them. Oh, you want to undercut us? We'll go even lower. That's how this stuff operates. And Obamacare is meant to blow our engine. Cutting our power plants off is meant to blow our engine. Any free sovereign nation, while being exploited and funding the New World Order at one level, is also under attack by the globalist. Russia is under attack. The United States is under attack. We are being deindustrialized, just like the globalists have tried to block industrialization in Latin America, in Asia, in many areas, and in Africa especially. That's why there's a war on small business. That's why there's a war on lemonade stands and farmers markets. That's why there's a war on truck farms. That's why there's all this bureaucracy. And the bureaucrats are taught they're saving the world. They're good people, and why? They're compartmentalized. I'm here to decompartmentalize you, and I challenge you, if you serve the system, to write notes on what I say and to go check it out. Because if you rationalize this and just say, I'm a kook, God's looking at you, the universe is looking at you, fate's looking at you, your kids are looking at you, and that's the same as joining it. You can't cop out in this. Go look it up, prove me wrong, or join us. And by joining us, that just means admitting there's a scientific world government being established that if it gets into place, Katie, bar the door. It's not even fully in place yet. And I'm watching this singularity system being set up, this weaponized, electronic, automated, autonomous, globalist kill grid. And I read all their publications admitting that they're building the grid and it's almost in place. And I'm sitting here giving you the sources. We're under attack. And we're not being conquered like the Normans conquered England and brought a lot of science and stuff in, and we're oppressors at one level, but also empowerers at another. It's not like they just want to run things and then, you know, marry our daughters, and then we're not in charge anymore. Because it doesn't matter, our kids are. It's not a merger. It's not a corporate takeover. It's a corporate takeover to kill you. Do you understand that? I think you're smart enough to face a scientific attack of this nature, even though it's sophisticated. Once you're aware of it and admit it, that's half the battle. You've heard that saying. That's not just a G.I. Joe saying in the cartoon. That's an intelligence saying. Knowing is half the battle. And then taking action is the other half. So that's what's going on. And it doesn't matter if it's Ezekiel Emanuel, it doesn't matter if it's Gruber, it doesn't matter who it is. They get up there in the academics, and this is what they teach in colleges, what they teach in corporate boardrooms. Yes, it's a fraud. Yes, it's a monopoly. Yes, we scam people. And what you really learn at MIT, and what you really learn at the UT Business School, and what you're really going to learn when you are, you know, at the Harvard Business School, or what you're really going to learn at Chicago Business School, or what you're really going to learn at the PhD level, what you're really going to learn is, hey, we're part of a secret crew of social engineers. We're taking over. So we can run your life and social engineer. Government's got to run healthcare. That's going to take a lot of money. We want to get rid of the old system to build a new command destruction, creative destruction. And so we need you to get behind this. Of course, you're only being given one compartmentalization. Just like the MIT engineers I knew 15 years ago, 2 of them lived in my neighborhood, really nice guys. And then I moved to another neighborhood and met another IBM engineer when IBM was still in Austin. And they said, yeah, no, I'm here to train all the Indian workers to replace the U.S. workers, but they tell us we'll still be in management over the Indians. And I said, no, you won't. And they said, oh, I think you're wrong, Alex. You know, they need, they want some Americans there running things. And I said, okay. Years later, they